gentlemen, Bungle, hope you're doing well and I hope you're having a great day. Today we're going over Enlisted, the World War II free-to-play first-person shooter, much requested, much talked about. Hey Bungle, talk about the Sherman II and the Battle of Tunisia Campaign. What we do here on this channel, if you're a new viewer, possibly new subscriber, maybe wondering, Bungle, what do we do here? Well, give an overview, kind of telling you, what are we reviewing today. Next, I talk about the performance. Is it good? Is it bad? And lastly, is it worth it? So without further ado, let's begin. Start off with an overview. All right, so this tank is a level 32 vehicle for the Allies in the Battle of Tunisia Campaign. It comes as a rank 3 Taker class. Keep in mind that this tank can be used alongside the M3 Lee and with the A13, etc. Now moving down to its performance, the main question here is, how does this tank perform, Bungle? Well, pretty much it's the best vehicle, in my opinion, for the Battle of Tunisia Campaign for the Allies. This comes with a 75mm M3 gun. This gun comes with two types of rounds: armor piercing and high explosive. High explosive is great at taking out infantry, and surprisingly, which is really weird, it can penetrate the armored cars of the Italian vehicles very easily. You can go through them like butter, really. It's kind of funny. And the armor-piercing round is great at going through Panzer IIIs, taking out Panzer IVs, dealing with the Italian tank destroyer. You'd be very, very surprised at how this tank performs. It's actually very, very strong. Now, when we talk about its armament, its secondary armaments for this machine guns, of course, for the commander's view, you get a 12.7mm or 50 cal on top, and you get a coaxial 7.62mm machine gun. And this tank is armed to the teeth, and when we talk about, how does it perform with its mobility, and with its armor, it's actually very, very good. The armor can kind of take hits from the Panzer III and the Premium. It can take hits basically from the Italian tank destroyer, the Italian armored car, and even the Italian medium tanks with its 45mm cannons. The armor on this tank is very good. Now, when you face against a Panzer IV F2, that tank has the capabilities of trading with you, so you will have to be careful and kind of use your skills to outgun and outmaneuver the Panzer IV F2. But in general, this tank is pretty much a step up from the Crusader, from the Grant, from the Lee, from any of the premium tanks like the Matilda and the A13s. Now moving down to, is it worth it? In my opinion, yes. In fact, contrary to the Panzer IV F2, the Sherman II is pretty much the best tank for the Allies in the Battle of Tunisia Campaign. The main reason why this tank is so good is that pretty much it solves all the problems that the Allied tanks in the Battle of Tunisia have, which is they're very slow, or they have okay armor, but the guns are very limited and wonky. So compared it to an M3 Lee or the Grant is very, very slow. It is very gimmicky with its whole land battleship configuration of its Traverse 75mm cannon and its 37mm turret. It's a very, very wonky, weird play style when you play that tank. When compared to A13s, great at moving forward, terrible at reverse, slightly armored. The gun on it is 40mm, quick firing, it's okay. When compared to other premiums like, the Matilda is very, very slow. The armor on it is great, but it's very, very, very slow. And the gun on it, it's 40mm quick firing cannon. It's okay, it's not great, it's not terrible. And compared to the Crusader has no armor. It's very, very quick and maneuverable, and it has a 57mm cannon. But again, I'd rather have a tank that's kind of a jack of all trades, master of none, and that is what the Sherman II is. The Sherman II pretty much is great mobility. It has decent armor. It can deal with any threat that the Axis tanks have and deal with it. It can penetrate Axis tanks. It is a force to be reckoned with, and it is a very, very good, fun tank to use for the Allies in the Battle of Tunisia Campaign. I highly recommend, if you are grinding for that campaign and you are interested to pick up this tank, that it is definitely worth the grind, and there is no premium counterpart that is actually better than this vehicle. I feel that the Sherman II is a great example of an initiative for enlisted players to go and grind for a campaign level vehicle that actually outperforms premiums, whereas when we compare to the Panzer IV F2 for the Axis in the Battle of Tunisia Campaign, you realize that the Panzer III and the premium is actually better than the top tier tank, the Panzer IV F2. But other than that, if you reach this point in the video, a new viewer, possibly new subscriber, well, I hope today is the day that I earn your subscription. Have your sub and mash that like button. It does help me with the YouTube algorithm. Returning sub, returning viewer, let me know your thoughts. Other than that, I hope you all have a great day. Take care.